Battlefield Podcast.
All right, so we'll start with Battlefield Podcast Episode 10. I'm your host, Ole, aka Chalk One, and we've got a whole slew of people on the show this week. My regular co-host, we got Tim, aka Darkness 429. Hi, Tim.
Hey.
And we have a couple of guests from the Battlefield Zero Tolerance podcast that are mostly focused on the PlayStation 3, I think. So we'll let them introduce themselves, starting with Alan.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Alan, and I go by Disturb Poppy.
And our resident feedback for the show.
That is me. Jonathan Mack, a.k.a. Maximus Prime, a.k.a. UC Mac on PlayStation 3, a.k.a. I got nothing else. The guy with no hair.
And we also have Kevin with us.
How are y'all doing tonight? I'm a franchise 254 on PlayStation, and you can also follow me on Twitter at franchise 254.
So you guys are doing the Battlefield Zero Tolerance podcast. Tell us a little bit about how that got started. You guys all play on the PS3. So we got you on the show so that we can talk a little bit about Close Quarters, because you guys actually had a chance to play it this week. So.
Yep.
First impressions real quick. What do you think, Close Quarters?
All right, who's going to start it off? All right, I'll start off, because I don't know. I know that I'm going to start off with a positive note. When I first started playing it, it felt sort of, I hate to say it, but like some other popular first-person shooter games that are out there on the consoles. Because, of course, it's like close quarters type, little room spaces. But the more I played it, I personally really am enjoying it, because unlike that other game that I'm sort of referring to, the destructible environment just adds like a huge amount of difference to the gameplay and how you can actually play those maps and take advantage of the environments and stuff. So I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a good mix. It's a big change compared to what typically you feel in Battlefield,
Yeah. There were some issues with it launching on the PlayStation 3, wasn't there? Like a couple days where it wouldn't work for anybody, or?
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
They released a fix like 2 days later, and I know it happened right around the time of E3, so they were really busy doing that and trying to fix the problem.
Now it's working at least, so that's a good thing. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a bit, I think. Wanted to talk a little bit about the Battlefield 3 patch on Monday that was released, of course, during or after the E3 press conference that DICE had. And lots of issues fixed. Most importantly, some of the important ones, like the M26 Dart that was plaguing everybody. They fixed that finally.
Yes.
That was broken on the PlayStation 3 as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was exploited all the time.
Yeah, we had a couple
fixed
of
that
rants on our show about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some rants.
Well, it was just it was really frustrating because people were using it left, right, and center, and it was just it was ruining the gameplay.
Right. Well, it was like people would die and they would pick it up in a match. It was like somebody would keep respawning with it and somebody would pick it up and use it. So it would be a whole squad full of people with the M26 Dart, and there was nothing you could do about it. And you would just basically get owned the whole match. So, I mean, it was really frustrating for, a lot of gamers out there. For me especially, I mean, if you're ever on the squad with me in the game and you heard some pretty colorful language there.
Well, and the other thing that they tweaked was the suppression, which was something that it's been turned down, not all the way back to what it was before the last patch, but sort of somewhere in between, I guess. So I don't know. I haven't really noticed a whole lot of difference in the suppression, but
I have. I'm not getting as many suppression ribbons as I used to,
right.
which is nice. I've noticed that if I'm getting fired, I'm not getting as much suppression as I normally do, which is nice because you can actually move now. You're not just your vision doesn't go blurry, and you're not just stuck in one spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other thing that they also included was colorblind support for the console. Is that something you guys use at all on the PS3?
I have no need for it, so it's kind of hard for me to go one way or the other about it. I don't know. You guys use it?
I haven't used it yet, but I know that was like one of the biggest problems that we were facing on the PS3 side was, when you're, when the enemy was in between, you and a teammate behind him who could have been, on the other side of, a wall, fighting some other guys. I know that there were some times that the names would get kind of mixed up, and you would think that it's your teammate that's behind you. Well, here you turn around to try and either hold down Bravo or some other flag, or if you just wanted to proceed and move up a little bit more, that guy that you thought was your teammate would just turn around and just, take you out. So I haven't messed with the options yet as far as that. I've only really run into that. I want to say it wasn't a lot, to tell you the truth. It wasn't something that really plagued my game, at all the times that I played. But I don't know, Mac, have you gone and changed that option?
Trying to somehow I managed to mute you earlier and trying to unmute you. Try it now. No.
Okay. Can I talk now?
There you go. Sorry.
I felt like I was in the corner for a second.
I was thinking at the top of your Google Plus, there's a button for you to mute your mic when you're not talking, so we don't have as much feedback. I think that might work.
Okay, you want me to turn it? Okay, I'll do that. So
just whenever you're not talking.
You turned it on, so I thought that maybe I was in trouble. I've used the colorblind support.
The camera, the PlayStation camera, it might be coming through the camera sound as well as the computer, so you're just double,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can flooded headsets, but we're already on, so I'm not gonna worry about it now. But yeah, like I've used the color support. It's nice with the CQC actually, I think, because everything is like a lot darker and then like more vibrant. So like the blue is real bright. I think the enemy is like an orange or something, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see the icons much better. So I think it helps in that way. But I don't use it because it's just not what I'm used to seeing. So
it takes some getting used to, but the colors definitely pop a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it stands out, but you're right. It does take some getting used to, because especially when you're used to having the colors a certain way. But so I guess console players now have that option, at least, if they like that, which is good.
Yeah, it's a nice option. Do you guys use it?
I do. Yep.
I do.
Yeah, me too. I find it is, give it a try just for a little while. It is kind of nice. It takes some getting used to, especially having your squad mates be yellow instead of green.
Yep.
But the text seems to be a little bit easier to read on the screen, and it's got nothing to do with the color. It's just, it seems crisper almost. So I don't know.
I'll try
It's deeper.
I just got off of the game, so I can get back in it and try it out.
And then I guess one of the other things that they fixed, they tweaked the F-35 performance to make it match more like the Su-35.
Which is good.
Did it actually make a difference, Tim? Did you try it out?
It did. It feels a lot more like a fighter jet. It doesn't feel like a helicopter.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, I've actually been able to finally get some kills in that dang thing.
Oh, which is not. What was really annoying is if you slow down, it would just automatically go into its hover mode. So in a dogfight, and you slow down too much, you would just completely lose your forward momentum and just go into this hover mode, and it just killed the dogfight. So now you feel like you're somewhat more matched with the SU. SU's still overpowered in comparison to F-35, but at least the F-35s now have a chance.
Yeah, and then the other thing, of course, that's the big news that we already all knew about was Battlefield Premium that's been released, which offers pretty much all the 5 expansion packs, including Back to Clark Kent. There's sort of a bit of a controversy out there about that because a lot of people already paid for it, and there's petitions happening about getting your money back and all that, which I don't know how well that's going to work out.
Yeah, it's not going to do them any good, I don't think.
No.
And if you had bought it day one, like most of us did, you got it for free.
Right.
So I mean, there's no issue with it. If you had to pay for it, I mean, hey, things happen. I mean, there's always going to be some kind of lawsuit or some kind of class action against games like that, and I think that's wrong to do that to this game at this point.
I can't for the life of me figure out how to unmute somebody.
I think it has to be on there.
Oh,
I can turn it off.
It
I
works.
can control it.
I,
All right.
I think it's because we're all using headsets and you're not.
Do I need to plug in a headset?
No, it's okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, you still save money, even if you already paid for Back to Clark Kent for some reason. You're still saving some money over buying those next 4 expansion packs individually. Plus, you get all the extras like dog tags and game knife and lots of things that we already talked about. That's one thing I forgot to mention actually in the beginning. We do a lot of YouTube videos nowadays. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel on YouTube, it's just Battlefield Podcast, and do a lot of little mini podcasts, weapon review things, and so we've done a couple of episodes about what came with Premium and what changed. I mean, they revamped Battle Log, which is probably a big thing. I quite like it. What do you guys think about that? Is there a Battle Log on the PS3, or do you have to go on a computer?
You have to go on a computer. Okay. They have a battle feed, but as far as a battle log, they don't have one. Most of us, well, us 3, we have the battle log app for iPhone.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can call us Apple trolls. But
that's all right. I got one too.
So how does that work for you guys on the PS3 when you load into Battlefield? Is it just like any other console game? You just load into just a user interface and you just go in through there? Do you guys add friends and whatnot? Or is that all done through the PC, the browser side of Battlelog?
You do it through the PS3.
Okay.
Everything is done through PS3. You can the things in the Battlelog, like your clans and things like that. You do it on the PC. So I mean, you have to use both to actually use the game properly.
It's funny that you mentioned the Battlelog iPhone app, which at least for me is currently not working. It's actually saying, of course it's going to be backwards, it's actually saying, sorry, the feed's currently unavailable.
Right.
For everything.
Yeah, same here.
So I wonder if they broke that with the update to the website. But, I mean, the main update is showing off all the new assignments and which assignments both for close quarters, which you can already start, and in fact you can complete 8 out of the 10 assignments without even having access to close quarters. Mm-hmm. At least on the PC you can.
I heard for the Xbox you can't.
Yeah, that's what we heard.
Mm-hmm.
Poor guys on the Xbox.
You said on the Xbox you can't unlock them?
Correct. Yep.
Really? Because see, that's how I actually started. I got into this in the BF3. Like I actually got it on 360 because that's where a lot of my friends were initially. And then I don't know. I wanted to try it on a PS3 because it has an anti-aliasing on it, and it doesn't on 360. And I started playing with my man Disturbed, and rest is history. Now it's my preferred platform out of the 2 consoles.
Does it look better than the Xbox then, graphically?
I think so in certain ways. Because the anti-aliasing, of course, you don't have the white lines, especially like the draw distance. Like when you're looking out in the far distance, it seems to be clear on the PS3. And some of the effects, like the lighting effects, smoke, the particle effects that you see and things like that, I think are a little bit better on PS3. Whereas on the contrary, like on 360, it seems like the colors are a little bit deeper and brighter, which is and I've messed with the settings too, and I just think it's for whatever reason, the video card or in 360 may be able to process deeper colors. But I think it looks better on PS3 overall.
That's pretty common, actually, for some reason, that difference in color vibrancy on the 360 versus the PS3. I don't know what it is, but you're probably right. It probably is the type of graphics card that's used in the system. So we all bought Battlefield Premium. I love how in the beginning everyone is all up in arms about, it's a subscriber service and it's going to be more like Call of Duty and all that stuff. And then everyone goes out and pays their $50 to EA like the sheep we are. Right?
Yeah.
So true. Yeah, I personally thought it was great because I knew it was going to save a little bit of money and give us a chance to get some extra content early.
Yeah, which is kind of nice because we wanted. Lost. Oh, there you go.
Like this is.
Yeah, all the extra stuff is cool. You save some money and you get stuff 2 weeks early. So for the PS3, since you already get stuff 1 week early, so you actually end up getting it 3 weeks earlier than, say, somebody on the PC or 360 that didn't buy premium.
Right. And it's not anything like Call of Duty Elite.
Because no, it's not really, is it?
No. I mean, that's a common misconception about it. This is a one-time fee. With them, they you have to keep paying and paying and paying. So Activision's getting a lot of money out of Call of Duty players for just this one game.
Yeah, this is really just buy it once, save a few bucks in the long run. You basically just give EA your money ahead of time instead of doing it over time slowly. So. Exactly, because if you do the math on what they're going to charge you for the map packs, you're going to spend $15 easy. And we're getting what, 5 map packs? And I mean, you do the math right there. That's well over $50. So, I mean, you just have to look at it. I personally would rather play BF3 than COD, but you know, that's my own personal thing.
Oh, I can feel the flames coming. Careful.
Well, you know how those guys are. I mean, you know, they're diehard. I've got friends that are like, I won't buy it. And I'm like, I won't buy it either. I will not. I mean, they won't buy Battlefield 3 and I won't buy COD. And I spent a little time in Germany and I had nothing to do. So I bought both games because everybody over there is Call of Duty. That's all they, I was on a military base and that's all they did. Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. So, yeah, they're very much really opposing sides. Like you either love one and hate the other, or the other way around. There's sort of very few people who are in the middle and say, yeah, I like both.
Yeah, medium.
I mean, you got to look at it one way or another. You're either playing an arcade game or you're playing a simulation game. I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's like if I want to go, I had to explain this to my brother the other day. I was like, hey, you like Call of Duty. I respect that. I will not play Call of Duty at all. He's like, what? Battlefield is too hard. I'm like, no, it's not hard. You have to actually use your mind. You have to actually try and use your team. And you can't just run around and, I'm going to throw grenades everywhere and shoot at people and run off. And you can't do that in Battlefield. You'll be very unsuccessful.
Yeah, unless you're playing on Operation Metro. Then just throwing grenades works great.
True.
So you guys have now have had access to close quarters for, I guess, a couple days.
Right.
Mentioned earlier, sort of, Jonathan said you liked it. Alan, I think I saw a tweet from you saying you weren't a big fan of it.
No way. It's funny. It's funny that my man Franchise was talking about Call of Duty. Because let me tell you something. Close quarters, and I mean no disrespect to DICE. I mean, if you guys have followed my Twitter feed, I'm a huge fan of DICE. There's just something about Battlefield, something special. Whenever you say Battlefield, there's like a certain mystique. Like it's something almost beautiful about that game. And I go back to Battlefield Bad Company 2, because that's how I got introduced to the franchise, and I actually came from Call of Duty, but it was my cleanup man, who actually brought me over and said, hey, you got to try this game. So after almost 400-something hours with Bad Company 2, I fell in love with DICE. I fell in love with, Bad Company 2. And then Battlefield 3, I'm all pumped up. I'm digging, and I'm loving the maps that we have now. I started feeling a little a little weary about close quarters and what DICE's interpretation was of close quarters. Well, after having played it, 2 days now, if it, the way how I look at it, and I could be totally ass wrong about this, but it seems like in DICE's headquarters, in their war room, when they were thinking about this, I was actually thinking, was DICE, talking among themselves, how can we get Call of Duty players to come over and get a feel of what Battlefield 3 team play is, but let's give them the taste of what they're used to with Call of Duty. And you sort of put that together, and that's what you get with Close Quarters. Before Close Quarters came out, very rarely did I ever almost bump into an enemy, because your maps are, so spaced out. And whenever you're, involved in a firefight with enemies or an enemy, it's always taking place in front of you. Well, since I've been playing, Close Quarters, I can't tell you the amount of times that I have bumped into 3, 4, 5 different players on the other team, and then there's been many times when there's 7, 8, 9 guys, and it's just from 2 different squads, and everybody's just starts shooting each other. Now, I play hardcore all the time, so I mean, you're literally seeing teammates take out teammates, but then taking out 2 enemies, and then you're seeing 7, 8 different bodies all over the place. And you're seeing these different guys that did survive this one firefight. You're seeing everybody start zapping each other to bring them back to life if they got the defibrillator. That's the biggest thing that I've noticed. The graphics, and the way how the maps are set up, I have to admit they are beautiful. I really, really like the way how they did it. But I got to tell you, if you guys play PC, so you're 64 players.
Oh yeah.
I cannot imagine the kill fest, because it's going to be kill, death, 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 kill. And I mean, when you have 64 players playing this way, I mean, you guys, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it.
Yeah, I heard there was rumors that they were only going to keep the map size to 16 on these maps.
Yeah. There was, I think, but we're not sure if that was 16 total or 16 aside. So it probably is just 16 on 16, so 32. So it won't be quite as bad, but how's the destruction? I mean, they may make a big deal out of that, but one of the big concerns I had is that with all of this destruction and grenades, I mean, we played on Metro earlier without any restrictions, and it's rockets, grenades, underslung grenades,
yep,
and EOD bots for some reason. But
that damn assignment.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah, I just imagine this cloudy, smoky area where you can't see anything, and then you die, like you said. You spawn, revive, die, revive, die.
It's somewhat like that, but you have to actually go in and play the maps for a little bit, and you start finding small little clues and little spots you can go to kind of make the game a little more interesting.
The flow of the map, do you find it that it's constantly going, or is there a bunch of camping that happens?
No
camping.
No camping whatsoever. Good. You are, like I said, the minute you get spawned in or you get revived, you have a split second to decide what the hell you're going to do. If you're going to sit there, you are going to get owned by somebody, guaranteed. If not, you have, like I said, just this little bit of time where if you do spawn, after you got killed, or if you're going to, if one of your teammates, zapped you back, I mean, you literally got to get up and you got to make, you just got to haul ass, because, I mean, you're seeing guys running left and right all over the place. There's so much shit that's going on all at once. And like I said, you're going to find yourself a lot of times where you're going to be involved in these firefights where there's just like 7, 8 guys that are just ganged up in this one area, and everybody is just shooting each other, and there's all hell that's breaking loose.
Yeah. You guys, Conquest Domination is the new game mode. Does it help with I guess the whole idea is that it's still just like Conquest, but you capture flags faster and you spawn sort of randomly like you would on Team Deathmatch. Does that make it easier to play in these tighter quarters?
Yeah, for me, yeah. The thing for me is like I'm very much a like a tag like a flag attacker, and so if you look at my kill death ratio, I'm dying more than I'm living because I'm usually focusing on reviving people and getting positions, and because you can take the flag so fast, like I'm really enjoying it because I can run in and grab them like that. You know, it takes I don't know probably what do you guys think, like a second and a half, maybe 2 seconds? Like it's super. I mean, once
they go really fast. I mean, it's just like
yeah,
the more people that run to the flag, the faster it goes.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really really fast. It is chaos. But that's why I like to play them a little bit. You know, like I'll play a few of them, but then I'm gonna go back to traditional because it's that fun chaos, but it's only good for me for about 30 minutes to an hour tops, and then I want to get back into like Battlefield because it's missing so many elements like the vehicles and the large maps and the tactics in that way. I think as time goes, maybe people will transition into more like squad-focused movements and things and use more appropriately. But right now, it feels sort of like Call of Duty with destructible environments and positions, you know, like flags you can take. So.
And the environment is, just to add also, the environments do look like a lot better. Especially when you're blowing stuff up, throwing grenades, whatever it is, when there's so much chaos going on, the environment itself just looks so much more better as everything's starting to get destroyed, walls, tables, whatever. So that they did, like really focus on that. And to tell you the truth, that's the one thing that I did notice, that I really, really like that DICE did with the destruction and, the way how the environment reacts. I know that there's a trailer out there where they actually showed before Close Quarters came out where you saw all this stuff happening. You're seeing, parts of wall blow up, or whatever. You actually do feel that intensity. It is that real. It is that good. That is one thing that they definitely hit on that I looked at and I'm like, all right, you know what? If they've already done this much with, Frostbite 2 and they've advanced it that much, can you imagine when some of these other map packs start coming out and, in the future there are other games? I mean, they're only going to get that much more. I hate to use a word, but it's beautiful to see, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I was watching some walkthrough videos on YouTube, and even just the attention to detail to maps and the lighting and whatnot, and the areas that are immersed in shadows. They put a lot more detail than I feel like in some of the vanilla maps. They just looked, like you said, they look beautiful. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, DICE did. They definitely hit a home run with that. I mean, that is just spot on the way they did that.
Yeah, you PC players are lucky. It's going to look gorgeous on your rigs, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Without a doubt.
Do you have
like
any,
especially like there's this still. I'm sorry, I was just gonna say like there's this one map in particular. I can't remember the last. It's like the steel warehouse or what is it?
Scrap metal.
Scrap metal. Yes, it's gorgeous. It looks so good. They hit the nail on the head.
I was going to ask if you guys have a favorite map yet, or if that's too early to tell.
No, it's scrap metal for me.
I like the what's it called? The where you're running around the courtyard and
Donia Fortress.
There you go. Yeah, I like that one.
I'm going to say...
Hold on, you guys are calling out the maps, and we've been the ones playing them.
In our show notes, I have pictures, so I'm going back and forth.
That's because all we have is pictures, so we just sit here and drool over these pictures, and we just memorize stuff. And
it's actually fun. These maps are they're designed for team play, and you do have those that are running out there and doing Call of Duty. But I was playing with our UK brothers, and we were actually using Skype to voice chat because, you know, voice chat's still kind of iffy on the PlayStation 3. The voice over IP is kind of bad. And if you're using your squad correctly, you can actually own any one of those maps. But you have to use, you know, we'll get in a Skype chat and we'll use all 8 of us in the Skype chat. And we're like, okay, you 4 go here and we'll be here. You know, you 4 go around and you spot people, and you know, you tell us where they are when they're coming, and you 4 stay here at this spot, and then, you know, you could run a map with 8 people easily.
well, that's good. I mean, that's sort of the whole point of the. If you can't have vehicles and stuff like that, at least you want to have good squad play. And it sounds like a good squad's going to beat 4 random guys that are just running around anytime.
Exactly. If you can get all eight guys on one squad, you know, our squads are broken up into two sets of 4.
Right.
So I mean, if you can get everybody on the same page in those 2 squads, I mean, it's very hard to beat them. You can own anybody in those maps. So they're not bad to me, but there's one thing that I've seen on a lot of the maps. It's like people are running around with RPGs and blowing out walls.
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
Yeah, you're fired. No.
Yeah, but that's the one thing, though, that I will say. Close quarters, definitely. When you're playing close quarters, if you really want to enjoy that experience, it is very important, more now than ever, to really work as a team. Because if you're just going to have a squad that's just going to break up and kind of go with that Call of Duty style, it's going to hurt more now in close quarters than ever. It's going to hurt your team because if you play the traditional Battlefield maps, and let's just take close quarters out of it, you're always going to have 1 or 2 knuckleheads that are just going to run around, and they're going to, you know, sort of, whether they're just worried more about their kill-death ratio or whatever, you're always going to have that. But you always have the rest of your team, you know, whoever's remaining, to always hit that objective. In close quarters, you have one guy that just goes and tries to do whatever he wants. You see how it affects everybody else because, like I said, it brings back the point that I said before. Because the maps are so tight and there's so much that's going on at once, if you have one squad that's just doing whatever they want, I mean, you literally don't have, how do I want to say, you really don't have that, that team play to where, you know, okay, let's take, you know, Bravo, and then we know that this other team is going to take Alpha. I mean, it's just scattered all over the place where everybody's just running around and nobody's hitting the flags because everybody's bumping into each other, everybody's killing each other, wiping each other out, and then you get that cluster, like I was talking about before, where you get like 7, 8 guys, and I mean, it just becomes hell right there. It's real chaos. If that made any sense.
No, and one thing I'd experienced on playing some of the maps was I'd be going down a hallway and I would look up and
and he froze.
And there would be 4 people.
He's always our problem child.
Yeah, we're used to this guy. Sorry about that.
No problem. So I guess the other thing, have you guys used a lot of the new weapons yet? I've been working on unlocking them on the PC. I haven't actually had much of a chance to actually use them. But have you tried them out yet? Any favorites or good things to say, bad things to say?
Yeah, let me just start with this one. as soon as everybody unlocks the AUG, that's the only gun that you're going to see everybody use.
Yep,
period.
Dog's a beast.
I mean, yes, it's beastly right now. And I mean, right now when we're playing, I mean, everybody's using the AUG. And it's just a matter of who gets those shots off first, you're going down.
Yeah, so that'd probably be the first thing to be tweaked in the next patch, then, hey?
Yeah.
Real bad.
As a matter of fact, wasn't it just a couple days that Demise actually put out a tweet saying, and yes, I already know about the AUG on Twitter, if I remember correctly, when Close Quarters first came out. So when I saw him tweet that, I was actually curious to know what was going on. I'm like, all right, what is this, another FAMAS?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And lo and behold, the minute we were able to just re-download the files from the PlayStation Store, and we just started playing, first kill, I got to say, the first 10 times that I got killed, AUG. And they were from different people that already unlocked the gun, and I'm like, okay, now I know why everybody's using it.
It's got a decent rate of fire, and it's got very low recoil. I think it's even better than the F2000 right now. It's a lot of fun to use.
Yeah, I actually unlocked that gun, and I actually, because like I said, to be honest, I'm not that big of a fan of close quarters, so I've been going back and forth a little bit. But whenever I go back to the other Battlefield 3 maps, first gun I take out is the AUG, and I'm just like, wow, okay, I'm going to work with this gun. So it is a great gun. It really is. And, the assignments are great. I haven't unlocked any other gun yet, but I'm progressing, and I'm constantly checking my assignments. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be a lot of fun, to tell you the truth.
You know what my favorite gun is? I like shotguns. I have opened the Spaz 12, and I've been using it a lot.
I feel like they're gonna tweak the SPAS even. It seems to be a one-hit kill almost every time.
Depends on how close you are to the person. It's like I've already gotten to my slug rounds on it, so it's not a bad weapon. It's not actually a one-shot kill every time, but it can be. It's pretty powerful.
It's probably useful in those close quarter maps anyways, right? I mean, obviously you wouldn't take a shotgun out onto like Operation
Caspian.
Firestorm or Caspian a whole lot, but any of the indoor maps
I would.
Actually, yeah, some people do, and then they kill me and I get really frustrated. It's like, why do you have a shotgun? Why?
Yeah. And that's the other gun that you're going to run into a lot also in these close quarter maps is different kinds of shotguns.
Well, I mean, I just got finished playing on a German server that they rented, and the guys were in there. First thing is no shotguns, no explosives, no M26. I'm like, why can't you use the M26? It's nerfed now. There's nothing you can. It's a normal gun now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's a wimpy gun compared to what it was.
Well, yeah, no one used the M26 until it got screwed up in a patch. I mean, I'd never even, no one ever used it. And then it became the super weapon and everyone used it, and now it's back to normal and
nobody's using it.
No one's using it, yeah.
Yeah, but I will tell you there is a rise in claymores now in close quarters.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because like I told you guys before, it's the speed of those boards are so much more quicker. So you're just seeing these guys just put all these claymores down everywhere. And, I mean, if you're really good at spotting claymores and you know where a lot of the traffic is, you're going to get a lot of kills using the claymores.
I know I am.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We should be able to get a chance to start playing it. I think on Monday, is when it's coming out on the PC.
Should be.
Yeah. Have you tried the Gunmaster game mode at all? No.
I haven't, not yet.
I have. It is so fun. All it is, I mean, I don't know if you guys, if if you guys have actually read up on it, but it's like you go through a progression of guns. You get 2 kills with each gun, and you go up a level. So every 2 kills, you change guns.
Yeah. Call of Duty had a game mode similar to that.
And it's fun. I mean, it's close quarters. I mean, and it's fun. You basically have to run around and just get kills with 2 gun or with a gun. 2 kills, 2 kills, 2 kills, 2 kills. And then at the very end, when you max out, it isn't a gun anymore. It's a knife. So
you have to get a knife kill at the end, don't you? Now, is there a lot of servers out there running close quarters?
Yeah, there are. I actually rented a server that's going to end tonight. I don't know if I'm going to renew it or not. And I'm running nothing but close quarters. Like I said, I was just playing in a German server, and they were running close quarters. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. I mean, you can find them everywhere. I mean,
how has that been, by the way, that whole renting experience, which is sort of new, renting service on consoles? I mean, on PC, it's common practice, right? But has it been good? Has it been worthwhile? Like, I think one of the issues on PC with servers usually is, like, I mean, we've talked about this, Tim, is that whether or not we should rent a server. But on the PC, the issue's always been that unless you're really, really popular and established, you're just going to sit there with an empty server 95% of the time.
Yep, and just a waste of money.
Is it different on the consoles? Is it more like you said you rented a server, you get pretty decent traffic in it?
Oh yeah. As soon as people get into it, it's full. You go in with about 2 or 3 people, then other people see it, and then they fill up real quick. So you're really getting your money's worth out of them. But I think they give you a little bit longer than a day. You know, I'm just going to rent it for a day. And then you're like, oh, man, I'm having fun. You have to rent it for another day. I mean, they give you the day, the week, the month, and then the 3 month.
But see, that's also kind of neat, because I don't think on the PC you could rent stuff for a day. I've only ever seen them rent it month to month. So at the very least, you're committing to 30 days worth of renting, and then it gets fairly pricey. So you don't want to spend $50 on a server that's just going to sit empty. But I wish they'd let us rent them for a day, because that'd be cool. Because you can get together. You know you're going to get all your buddies together to play, and you get your own server for the day, and then good. That's it.
Yeah. But the one thing that you will find, like the one thing that we've, you know, and this is something that's always talked among, you know, us PS3 guys, is that we're constantly server hopping. Because I mean, you always have your you know, your admins that are just straight up either, you know, if you have a lot of veterans going into it, and they're just completely owning, you know, that admin and his team. You find a lot of us are getting kicked out. So we're constantly like jumping from server to server. Now that close quarters is, you know, has been out, you know, a decent amount of time now on the PS3, you are starting to see a lot more close quarter maps starting to pop up, you know, servers starting to pop up. But I will tell you that, you know, the hardcore Battlefield guy that is used to the traditional big maps, they are not going to play this at all. And I'm considering myself like, you know, one of the newbies, but I'm more for, you know, the bigger maps. You know, I tell Franchise and Maximus, hey, we're going to go ahead and play some close quarters. I'm like, see ya. I go and start playing some of the other maps because I just can't do it. It's too small for me, to tell you the truth.
So you must be pretty excited then for Armored Kill when that comes out in the fall.
Yes, I was checking out some videos today on YouTube.
So they announced a little bit more details during E3. I don't know if anybody there's some footage on YouTube from the E3 booth, but they released some of the details. It's going to come out in September. It's going to have it's huge maps, right? I mean, it's the opposite of close quarters. It's new vehicles. 4 new maps still, but the biggest maps in Battlefield history, so they say. 5 new vehicles, including tank destroyers, mobile artillery, ATV, and of course the infamous AC-130 gunship that's been the talk of every Battlefield website out there. As well as a new game mode called Tank Superiority, which they haven't really talked about much. But
well, when you talk tanks, you talk that young man over there with that New York hat on. He gets
he's the tank expert.
He gets a lot of attention for being in tanks for rounds, and people are like, "Come out of the tank and we'll kill you."
Yeah, I tend to get a lot of hate mail because I get real surgical with that tank. I'm talking like 27-2, 44-7, and I just wait for the spawn. But now, it's not like I'm constantly like dying. If I die, you'll see me at the spawn. No, if I see that the rest of my team is holding down, all the objectives, then you'll see me go, and I'll start to, migrate towards the spawn, and I'll wait for the next tank to come up. But yeah, definitely tank is my baby. I can't fly helicopters. I can't fly jets. I suck at it. I admit it. I've said it on our show numerous of times. I will not fly at all.
Well, somebody's got to drive the tank, so there's nothing more frustrating than playing on a large map and being on a losing team, and all you see is like 3 of your tanks sitting in your main base, and no one's using them. It's like, why? Come on, somebody take the tanks.
Oh, I love tanks.
Yeah, they're cool. So there should be a lot of that on the new maps. I think that's sort of the big thing. The C-130 gunship is going to be not flyable. This was something that was tweeted by Gustav Howling. And it won't be flyable. 2 gunners can sit in it, and people can spawn on it and then parachute out, which is kind of cool. But it's also going to be really easy to kill, apparently. So the way it's going to work is that there is going to be one base on the map, one flag, if you will, and whoever controls that flag has access to the gunship. The gunship can be shot down, which I've already talked to Tim about. I think it's just going to be a jet magnet. I can just,
It just depends on the type of defense system they have up, because they're also talking about 2 people that are going to be able to use AA weaponry on the C-130. So, if it's, they launch out Stinger missiles, or they're just, just machine guns. And it also has flares that the gunners can pop out. So, it definitely is going to be a jet magnet, but we don't know of how easily it is destroyed or not.
Yeah, and the flares, it's from what we saw in the video, it's not just the 2 flares that you're...
No, it's a huge just stream of flares.
Exactly, like a whole shower of flares, which actually looks really cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that whole video looked awesome. When I saw that, I'm like, all right, you know what? Enough close quarters for me, and my attention, everything's just I just can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were the first one to say you weren't really interested in the close quarters maps anyway. You were like, I don't really care. It's gonna be like Call of Duty. I mean, it was like, it was before we even really got a clear picture of what it was gonna be. He's like, I don't want to play it. But I mean, it's cool. I mean, that's one of the things that we do. We debate amongst each other. Through Twitter, text messages, and things like that, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Well, and I mean the whole big thing, Armored Kill is probably more geared towards the traditional Battlefield player.
Yep.
You mentioned not just the ones that even started. I mean, all the way back to Battlefield 1942 is the first game to have large maps with vehicles, of that sort. So,
right.
But I guess obviously at some point DICE made the decision to sort of theme these DLCs. So you've got Close Quarter, that's just that, and then you have Armored Kill, that's just the opposite, as opposed to having multiple DLCs with, like, say, 2 indoor maps and 2 large outdoor maps, which probably would have pleased more people equally, like evenly, as opposed to polarizing the crowd. But it probably is easier to work on DLCs in a theme type pattern where you can say, okay, these are all going to be like that.
And DICE spent a lot of time, tweaking their infantry system. In Battlefield 2, the infantry system was horrible. It was, mainly focused on vehicle warfare. So they spent a lot of time, tweaking it, refining it, making sure it was, up to par. So I don't blame them trying to showcase, what they worked on.
Yeah, everything's looking good. This game looks like it has a lot of legs, and it's actually picking up people. And with my friends list, I'd say about 70% are playing Battlefield. And
well, that's good.
Yeah, the community's huge.
And you want these DLCs to be a success because otherwise it's not going to give DICE any incentive to keep releasing them, right? If no one buys these, then they're not going to make any more.
Yeah.
So
I think most people are buying the premium right now. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, I've taken a lot of premium tags on PS3. It's like I run up, I stab somebody. Wow, he was premium. Wow, he was premium. I was like, wow. And it hasn't been out it hasn't been out a week yet. It's 2 days in that everybody's been playing it, and it's like you see a lot of people with the premium tags.
And you got to think at the price, $50 a pop. That's pretty good income for EA and DICE. I mean, that's almost like selling Battlefield 3 all over again.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
So I just hope that we don't have to wait 2 months for the next patch, if there's going to be a patch.
Yeah. But you know what though, I like, because this is something that I talk, with Mac and Franchise a lot about, and I've mentioned this on the show, our show, numerous of times. Regardless of this, the patching and something's off with this gun, something's off with that gun, I have to give it to DICE, and this is why I'm going to continue to support this company and their games. I have never seen a company support a game so much the way DICE does. And you see the love, you see the dedication, through Demise's Twitter, you see it with Zinto. I mean, these guys have something special here, and the more DLCs that they got coming out, the better I see things, just looking better, feeling better. So I don't want to just, I didn't want to come on here and make it seem like, oh, close quarters, Call of Duty, it sucks, don't get it, stay away from it. It is beautiful. I've played the maps, they look beautiful. It's just me being I'm not that tight kind of map kind of guy. I'm more for the openness and, like the Rush and the Conquest, but in open maps. This just doesn't do it for me, but you can see the level of detail that these guys put into this game is truly unique, and they should be commended for it. Because I don't see any other company supporting their games the way DICE does, and that is one thing, that I love about DICE.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I mean, you can't please everyone at the same time. And actually, I think one of the reasons Battlefield Premium came into existence was because it does allow people to pay their money once, and you can take a close quarters DLC, even if you're not a big fan of that gameplay type, and you still get it. You paid for it. You still get some value out of it. You get the guns that you can use in all the other maps, and you don't feel like you had to. That was interesting. Google Plus just asked if I was still here. I guess we've been broadcasting for too long. They're asking, are you still doing this? I had to click a button. There's a little animated guy sleeping in a cartoon bed. It's like, are you still here? Click the button. But yeah, I think they do a good job with that. And Armored Kill is going to please some people, and it's going to not please people who don't like people driving in tanks all the time, whatever. So it's all about variety, and there's a pretty good variety with Battlefield 3. Even with the vanilla maps, I mean, you have a little bit of everything. So.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like by the time the premium maps are all out, we're going to have like a huge suite of maps and locations and environments to play with, different styles. I mean,
and he's gone.
It's like as soon as he starts talking again,
I'm really excited. When Endgame comes out.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
Oh man.
But he's absolutely right. It is going to be cool, and it's kind of nice that they've announced so far in advance that this is when DLCs are going to come out, and you sort of have that commitment that there's going to be at least those 4 more because, in a way, because all the premium players have paid for them now, they kind of can't go and be like, you know what, that end game, no, I'm not going to do it. They wouldn't, they're kind of committed to that now. They have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Do Jonathan back?
He froze.
Still frozen.
I think he's done.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up the show here anyways, but I want to give you guys a chance to tell everybody where they can find you. I know you're all over Twitter, so why don't you let the viewers know where they can follow you, where they can find you online, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cool. PSN, Disturbed_Poppy. Twitter, same. Disturbed_Poppy. Battlelog, the same. You can also find, if you don't mind me plugging our podcast show.
No, please, go ahead. Go for it. That's why you're here.
You can also find us on iTunes. If you just search Battlefield Zero Tolerance Podcast, you'll find us there. And we also have a Twitter account, Battlefield Zero Tolerance Podcast as well. So follow, have some fun. We're always having servers. Just last week we had the USA versus the UK tournament in Battlefield 3, which was a blast. We had a lot of, cool, family, community kind of tournament going, and, we're going to be constantly having matches with other countries and things of that nature. So, yeah, definitely.
All right. I'm Franchise254, of course, on Twitter. Xbox Franchise254. On PSN, I'm Franchise254 without the N because Sony messed that up for me, but that's okay. It kind of ticked me off a little bit, but I ran with it, and that's the easiest way to find me. Battlelog is the same, Franchise254. And again, I've enjoyed being here. It was really nice.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, we'll do that again. And what we can do now, from now on, and every once in a while we get somebody who comes by our forums or something, which is battlefieldpodcast.com, who says, hey, I play on the PS3 and I'm looking for some people to play with. And a lot of times we're like, well, we're on the PC, but now we know where to send them, so we'll send them your way so that anyone looking for team play. Because it's always hard for people who are playing by themselves, and especially with Battlefield. You want to have some people to play with.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
We've actually picked up a lot of my PSN list has actually gotten a little bit deeper with Battlefield players because of Twitter and now the podcast. And we're only 3 episodes in, but we're trying to make it as entertaining and informative as possible. And like I said, Maximus, if you want to find him, his name is Maximus Prime with a Y in the Prime on Twitter. UCA Mac on PSN, and I think it's Maximus Prime on 360.
So maybe what we'll do, Alan, if you want to throw all that stuff into an email for me, and I'll put it in our show notes, and that way we can post it on the website as well. That way there'll be links for people to click on and follow you guys. Speaking of clicking on and following, subscribing, you're going to want to click the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. My goal, Tim, that I said earlier a couple of weeks ago was to get 100 subscribers by the end of June. We're, I think, at 73 right now.
We are.
27. So it's on track, and you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Battlefield Podcast. Same-ish for Twitter, which is @BF Podcast, and of course battlefieldpodcast.com. And if you search iTunes for Battlefield Podcast as well. Interestingly, there's 2 feeds that show up in iTunes. They're exactly the same. I don't know why, and good luck trying to get Apple to change anything about that. So, anything else you want to add, Tim?
I think we're good. I think this is another show in the bag.
He's in the bag. So I'll say one other thing. The caveat about Google Hangout is that when I click End Broadcast, it boots everyone out. So I'll just tell you that now. I'm not just kicking you out. But as soon as I'm going to hit the stop button, it's going to disconnect everyone. So, yeah, thanks for taking the time, guys, to come and do this. And
thank you. It was our pleasure.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it was fun.
Maybe we should have you on our show one day.
Yeah, we could do that, too. So just let me know sometime, and we can arrange that for sure.
Hey, not a problem.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Battlefield Podcast. Report online at www.battlefieldpodcast.com for more information and feedback.